It was snowing hard that night in Toronto, the kind of heavy, silent snow that made the streets feel like a different world. Emily sat alone in the corner of a quiet coffee shop, her fingers wrapped tightly around a warm cup she barely sipped. Her eyes kept darting toward the door, not because she expected someone, but because she always needed to know who was coming in. She had learned long ago that trust was dangerous. Her last relationship had left her with more than heartbreak. It had left her with fear. She had told herself many times, "I don't trust men anymore." And she meant it. But fate doesn't always listen to what we swear to ourselves. The door swung open, and in came Daniel, a man in his mid-30s, shaking the snow off his coat. He wasn't there to meet her. He was just another stranger, but something about him caught her eye. Maybe it was the small girl holding his hand, giggling as her pink hat slipped over her eyes. He guided her gently to a table, his voice calm, warm. Emily noticed the way he crouched down to her level to help her with her mittens, as if the whole world slowed for that little girl. An hour passed, and the storm outside grew worse. The cafe owner finally walked over to announce they would have to close early, but the roads were too dangerous for driving. A few stranded customers would have to stay until morning. Emily's chest tightened. The thought of being stuck in a room with strangers, especially a man, made her uneasy. She found a corner seat far from everyone, but the little girl kept glancing over at her, smiling shyly. And then, before Emily could stop it, the girl toddled over and offered her a cookie. Daniel walked over, apologizing softly. "She's friendly with everyone." Emily gave a polite smile, unsure what to say. She noticed the weariness in his eyes, the kind that comes from carrying the weight of two lives alone. They didn't talk much after that. Night settled in, the power flickered, and the cafe became cold. People gathered near the small fireplace for warmth. Emily stayed in her corner, pulling her coat tighter. It was then that Daniel walked over, not close enough to crowd her, but close enough to be heard. "There's space near the fire. You'll be warmer there." She hesitated, every instinct telling her to keep her guard up. But the cold was sharp, and her hands were numb. Slowly, she walked over and sat across from him. The hours passed with the storm howling outside. The little girl had fallen asleep on her father's lap, her tiny hand resting in his. Emily sat quietly, feeling a strange comfort in their presence. At one point, Daniel noticed her shivering. He didn't offer a hug. He didn't drape his arm around her. He simply extended his hand, palm up, and said, "It's just to warm you up. Nothing else." Something in his voice, steady, honest, made her believe him. Tentatively, she placed her hand in his. His palm was warm, his touch gentle, and there was no pressure, no attempt to hold her tighter. They sat like that for hours, hands resting together in silence, the snow continuing to fall. When the morning light finally broke through the frosted windows, Emily realized something she hadn't expected. She still didn't trust easily, but for the first time in years, she felt safe next to a man. Not because he had said the right words, but because he had respected her silence. As they left the cafe, Daniel simply smiled and said, "Take care of yourself." No request for her number, no hidden motives, just a genuine farewell. Emily watched him walk away, his daughter's small hand in his, and felt a quiet shift in her heart. Trust wasn't built in grand gestures. Sometimes, it began in the simplest way, by holding someone's hand and doing nothing more. That night didn't make Emily trust all men, but it reminded her that good ones still existed. And sometimes, that was enough to start healing.